So I've been living in Tokyo, Japan for over 6 years, where I currently run and manage my own business. And fortunately, this is a business that has allowed us to make over 6 figures on a recurring basis. And because I consider us to be in such a special and fortunate position, I thought I would share with you 10 unexpected things that I've learned from my time in Japan that have directly contributed to the success of my work and my business in this country. And so if that's something that interests you and you enjoy this type of content, then please consider subscribing. Now, one of the most important things that I've learned over my time here in Japan is the fact that aesthetics play a very important role in society. And I'm not only talking about everything always having to be clean and nice all the time, but it can be as simple as the way that you arrange food on a plate, to the way that people treat you in retail stores, or the way that people just dress on the streets. All these things not only enhance the experience, but are also integral to how things are perceived. Now, for some of you, this might seem shallow or superficial, or maybe even overly focused on appearances, but the fact is that here in Japan, when you dress well, you're not necessarily always doing it just to flaunt your cash or show off your flashy clothes or your nice shoes, but you do it for the sake of those you interact with. You do it out of respect towards them, because you also want them to interact with something that's aesthetically pleasing and that shows integrity and respect. So keep that in mind and think that when you take care of your appearance, whether how you take care of yourself or how you dress, you're not doing it just for yourself, but you do it also for the sake of those around you. And in the case of my work, I've come to realize that many times, whether we want to or not, customers are going to judge the packaging of your product first, even before they judge the product itself. Even though we've always been taught not to judge a book by its cover, but we know that's not the reality. Because when you come across a product or a service that has unconvincing packaging, you'll already have your preconceptions about the quality of that service. But once again, it goes beyond that. When you have to open a new bank account, when you have to create a new company, when you have to show your business proposal to the government or whatever, all these things have to be well presented. And sometimes that matters even more than the contents of the proposal itself. The fact that you present things properly also shows that you take good care enough of your things to ensure that if the quality on the outside is good, the way that you present it, the shell of it is good, then chances are the inside is also going to be good and well presented. So put all those things in your favor and take care of your appearances and the appearance of your business. Now, here in Japan, there exists the philosophy of wabi-sabi, and it basically looks to enhance and bring out the imperfections and the challenges in life. And in this country, that's generally traditionally manifested as repairing cracked pottery, or the way that they admire and almost worship weathered down wooden temples and structures, or simply in the case of ikebana, where you have these abstract and almost very asymmetrical floral arrangements. And in the case of my work, this also greatly helped me shift my mindset from trying to achieve perfection to making those imperfections be the thing that gives my business and my company its character and its personality and its uniqueness. Because much like an old samurai, after he goes to war for many years, and then he comes back with a weathered face full of scars, and you can see in his face everything he's gone through, that's what gives him his character and his personality and his life story. And in the case of your business, the same thing applies. It's those challenges, those obstacles, and those adversities, and your ability to overcome them and learn from them, that's going to be what make the character and the personality of your business be unique and of value to society. Now, even though it might not look like it when you're in places like Shibuya or Shinjuku, traditionally, Japan is a very modest society. And one of the things that I have learned from that is how to do more with less. Things like a well-timed pause in a conversation, a very clear, modest design in your branding are always much more valuable and much more direct than this very flashy and direct and powerful approach. And the things that are always more minimalistic are always going to be perceived as being higher end and higher quality. Now, of course, all those other things, all those flashy and loud advertisements also exist, but those are for the masses. In your daily life and in the life of your work and your business, showing certain restraint, certain control is always going to be the thing that's going to make others lean in to try to learn more rather than pull back because you're too overwhelming. And so similarly, focusing on the essential qualities of your business is far more valuable and far more efficient than trying to overwhelm it with all these non-essential features. So now remember that restraint is not about choosing what you say or what you don't say, but actually about enhancing the impact of the things that you express. Now, as many of you might know, Japanese culture emphasizes the community. It's a collectivist society. This means that they always put the greater good ahead of the individual benefit. And in the case of my work, I've learned that the most valuable thing you can do is surround yourself with the right people, the people that share the same vision. Because believe it or not, there are people out there who are far more qualified and far more efficient than you at the things that your business needs the most. So the most valuable and important thing you can do as the owner of the business, if you will, is to surround yourself with the right people, because that's the only way in which you're going to achieve greater things. Remember, greatness is in the numbers. And when people are united on a single purpose, it becomes that much more fulfilling, not only for yourself, but for everyone involved. Now, another one of the most fascinating things I've learned while living here in Japan is the fact that paying attention to small details is actually a very strong sign of one's personal integrity and self-control. For example, I come from a place where when you receive a birthday gift, the first thing you're expected to do is to just rip it entirely to shreds and completely destroy the wrapping paper so that you can just open it as quickly as possible. That's part of the tradition. But here in Japan, things are different. And so when you receive a birthday gift, and I've seen this firsthand many times, they actually take their time to unwrap the wrapping paper as delicately as possible without tearing it at all. Now, of course, this takes more time, but it also requires a greater deal of reflection, self-control, and respect. And of course, once again, it goes beyond that. You have the tea ceremony where you have to slowly turn the teacup in your hand so that you can actually appreciate its detail, the curve of the lid, the color of the outside of the cup, the color of the inside of the cup, and so on. So when it comes to our business, we always make sure to take care of all those minute details to ensure that our respect and our dedication to our customers is clearly communicated. So you have to find the ways to do those same things in your business so that your customers can also feel the value of the services that you offer. Now, in Japanese traditional arts, whether it be pottery, martial arts, calligraphy, archery, or any other discipline, it's a great emphasis on not only the outcome, but the process itself. And many times the journey to mastering these skills is as important or even more important than the final result, because it highlights all the discipline, the perseverance, and the dedication that you need along the road to mastering the skill. And so in my business, that has actually helped me to shift my mindset from focusing on the outcomes to creating the systems that allow me to achieve those goals in the first place. So instead of focusing on wanting to have these many customers by the end of the year or by the end of the month, you actually focus on building the systems that will allow you to reach, surpass, and maintain those goals in the long term. Remember that the outcomes will follow as long as the system is respected. Now, here in Japan, there exists another very beautiful discipline called kintsugi, and that's basically the art of repairing broken pottery with a golden lacquer. And what this does is that it enhances the cracks themselves and makes them more beautiful in the process, thus giving the object a richer life story. And so in your business, setbacks and obstacles and mistakes are all inevitable, but it's up to you to actually grow from them, learn from them, and make them something that actually offers more value to your business in the first place. Because just like the broken cup that becomes more beautiful and more valuable after it's been repaired, then once you've been able to grow from your mistakes and re-innovate and reinvent your business into something much more valuable, that's also going to be much more greatly appreciated by your customers and by society as a whole. So in Japanese culture, or I would say communication in Japan in general, silence plays a very important role. And like I've said in other videos in the past, in the world there are basically two types of cultures: low context and high context cultures. And in the case of low context cultures, which are on the Western side of the world, we tend to use a lot more words to express what we think, what we feel, etc., because these words carry less inherent meaning, which means of course that we need to use a lot more of them. But high context societies, like Eastern societies in general, they tend to use a lot less words because these words carry more meaning. And so in contrast, you'll feel that there are many things that are left unsaid, but that's because in their way of communicating, they're taking lots of other things, lots of other cues into account that go beyond the spoken word. Things like body language, what kind of relationship the two of you might have, or what kind of interaction might have occurred before or after this current conversation. And so you could say that that silence often leaves a bit more space for reflection, for understanding, and for deeper insights as well. And so in my work, I've had to learn, and I've come to appreciate as well, the importance of that silence and the importance of understanding how to give space to that silence and use it in your favor, or to allow others as well to use it in their favor as well. So you could say that that silence is often just as important as the thing you're trying to say. So you have to know how to give that silence the space that it needs. Now, as many of you know, in Japan, both in terms of aesthetics, architecture, design, and many other things, minimalism is key. And so in the case of my work, I've had to learn how to minimize and basically get rid of all the noise and clutter that is overwhelming my business. You'd be surprised at how many things I found that we're actually overstating, overexpressing marketing and branding and all these things that at the end up making a more cluttered and unclean business. Remember that things that are streamlined will always be appreciated as being more high-end and higher quality. Not only that, but also a clutter-free approach is going to resonate with your customers who value transparency and ease of transaction. Remember that simplicity is not about doing less, but ensuring that the few things you're doing actually cause the biggest impact. And now, while I've been living here in Japan, I've also come across a particular mindset that many people have and seems to be innate to many of them, and that's the understanding of constant work and constant improvement. Now, here in Japanese, when someone tells you, "Hi, ganbarimasu," which means I'm going to work very hard, they take it to mean that they understand, and they understand that you understand, that they might not get the necessary results today or tomorrow or the day after, but they'll continue working regularly and consistently until they achieve those results. Because they understand that success is not a sprint, but it's actually a marathon. And it's all those small successes that accumulate and compound over time that are going to help you and make you achieve your goals and your objective. That's what makes it so that most Japanese traditional disciplines like martial arts, calligraphy, and all these things turn into some kind of almost like a spiritual discipline, because they're able to take this perseverance to such a high level that it basically envelops every aspect of their lives until they've reached the highest standard. Simply put, I think this is an admirable standard to have, whether you want to use it for your personal life or your professional life, and constantly and consistently strive to reach further and higher ideals. So you've heard from these unexpected and valuable lessons that I've learned from my time in Japan, but if you actually want to learn how to implement those tools into your life and into your business, then make sure you watch this video right here. In the meantime, take care, and I'll see you next time.